All right, let's get this started. So as you can see, I've already started the painting, but this is for a friend who is going to be gifting it to one of their friends. And I'm super excited to be making this. I do have a reference photo up right here. This is actually a painting of a bar in a town that I used to live in. I've never been there, but it looks really cute and they have a lot of community events. They have so many community events. So here are my brushes. I have a little bit of paint water over here. And I try not to put it in any coffee mugs because I definitely don't want to be drinking the paint water. So I have my trusty Christmas cup. You probably see this in every single video I've ever made for the past year because I actually got it at Christmas. My aunt gave it to me and I really like it. So it's Christmas year round. I actually do the same thing with I have this pair of pajama pants and I always wear that one. And it's kind of funny because it circles back around. So I got a little bit of that dark blue here, but we're just gonna fill in this sign right here. Get it a little bit more sharp, a little more precise. There we go. And I'm just taking a small blend of this color. I'm blending it with the dark blue that I have, which is a phthalo blue. And I usually like to work with bigger brushes. Well, let me get the angle a little different. Okay. So I want to make sure that you can see everything. Okay, you can see everything now. Great. So we're just going in and making this a little bit more opaque. And yes, I do know this is a slant desk, but I'm working on 50 projects at once, which means I'm not slanting it because everything's gonna fly off right now. There we go. I thought about doing it right behind over my shoulder, but then I couldn't see the chat. And although the chat is quiet at the moment, I don't want to miss anything anyone's saying. So I just try to take the paintbrush and I try to move it inwards. So you go from the edge and move it inwards, and that way you don't get that glob at the edge of the piece that you're doing, especially with hard shapes like this. So yeah, welcome to everybody who just joined. I am painting a commission for a friend who is going to be gifting this to one of their friends, and it is actually a commission of a bar in my hometown. And that bar is celebrating their 30th anniversary this year, which is very, very cool. And the bar is Blockbuster themed, but it's a bar. So yeah, so I'm very happy for everyone joining on this beautiful Tuesday. It's almost lunchtime. And I think I'm actually going to be having something I made last night. I made kind of a chili mac thing. I don't know if all of y'all are on your lunch breaks, but I tend to eat lunch a little later and I tend to like to work into the early afternoon. And for all the people on the last live that have been asking, oh, well, what do you do besides YouTube? I am actually a painter. I am a painter by trade. So I'm taking you into what I do. I would love to hear what you guys like to do and what you do in your life. I don't know if the chat is open. I can't see it, so is there a way to see if there's a chat? Oh my God. I don't know. I was gonna ask everybody to ask, how do I do this? How do I get the chat up? But let me see if I turn it this way. Okay. So I guess the chat maybe works. I don't know. I would love to know if I could see it. I'm actually gonna try to see it now. Let's see. You guys gotta, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I'm still figuring this out. This is like my third live stream. So yeah, so back to painting. Again, I am just super stoked that I was chosen to make this commission. And we just really want to get really sharp lines on this. And I do have the photo up here on my iPad. And we're just gonna keep going with it. Trying to get this as opaque as possible. I don't know if any of you guys remember Blockbuster. I remember when I was really little, I would go with my mom and dad and we would pick out, hi Jackie! We would pick out a movie every single time. And it was a lot of fun. So we're actually going to start with a gray on the building. It's gonna be kind of like a blue gray. And I think I'm gonna go in with a slightly bigger brush. Hi, Yanel. I think that's how you pronounce it. But hello, welcome. We are painting a commission today. And I'm very excited about it. And we're just gonna be making a blue-gray. So what is everyone up to today? And I don't know if it's the same time it is. It's around lunchtime over here. Over here for me, it's around lunchtime. It's almost noon. I think I started this at 11:11 by complete accident, going to school. Oh, that's a sad face. I'm so sorry. Hopefully it's a good day at school though. I can relate to that a little bit. But for now, I am out of school. I will hopefully be going back next year. Hopefully you do not get in trouble for having your phone at school. I don't know what type of school you are, if it's a university where they don't care, or if it's like a high school or middle school, but hopefully you have a very good day there. And I'm trying to mix in a little bit more gray. You guys can see that right here. And this palette is a mess on purpose. I create it to be as messy as humanly possible so I can peel them off and add them to a craft that I've been doing for around 6 months. All right, so you can see that it's starting to get a little bit more muddy in there. And that's what we want. We want it to be less colorful, which kind of hurts my heart, but it's okay. I love color. And I don't think I could pick a favorite color. Do you guys have any favorites? For me, all of them are wonderful. I mean, I have a least favorite color, and that's beige. I do not like beige. I think that colors are very important. So we're just gonna pour some more white paint. I actually had a period of time for about 3 years where I did not have any white paint. All I had was this very tiny bottle. So I was using house paint during that time, and sometimes it turned out really well. Other times it wasn't the best. But you can see the main difference. I'm gonna get these little discs off here. But you can see the main difference in how the saturation turns when you just put a little bit of a less saturated color in there. So we are actually going to get a different color, and we're going to go on the opposite end of the color wheel here. We are going to be going with an orange, and if you're trying to make a blue more gray, it can be really any orange. But we're just going to take a tiny bit of orange, put it on the palette, and we're just going to mix a slight bit, and this is going to muddy it a little bit. This is going to make it a little more muddy. And the key to making really good colors is to just understand how the color wheel works And we are going to start with our darkest gray so we can just add light into it later. You always want to start with your darkest stuff first, except for watercolor, That you build in the other direction. But with oil and acrylic, I like to start with the darkest first. If anyone in the chat paints, I would love to know what you do. If you're an artist, I would love to know. Art of any kind is beautiful and wonderful. So we are still working on getting that medium blue-gray. And I just usually take my paintbrush up to match it. It looks like it needs a little bit more of a cornflower blue in there. There we go. So to get that cornflower blue, I actually have a cornflower blue type paint over here. And I do have a whole wall of paints that I have been painting rainbow for a while, just so I can organize each paint by its color. We're gonna put a little bit of that paint over here. Looks like I still have that paper thing on it. I forget about that. So we will just use the paper part. Then we get like a little paint palette with it already on it. But I'm super excited to be doing this painting. So we're just gonna take a little bit of that cornflower color and add it in. And that should do two things. It should darken it as well as make it more of that gray color that we need. So I've added in the entirety of that little bit of orange that we've had. And it creates this color. And let me bring back up my reference photo. Reference photos are super important when it comes to painting, and you should always have one or multiple. Multiple is better. I've been sent a reference photo as well as a few videos and some stylization choice reference photos, but we pretty much have the color we want. So we're just gonna start going in and doing a base layer on everything. So basically the entire building is gonna be the same color. Obviously there's things like shading and all of that, but for the most part, and you can use a square or a round brush, just make sure the bristles are somewhat compact because that's very important to this. And you also want to make sure that none of your own hairs get in the way. I have a lot of hair, so it tends to just migrate and go everywhere. But just get it as exact as you can. You can always go over it with a different color later. And I do plan to do that. So we're just going in, just being very gentle. There is a time and place for chaotic painting, and this is not it. You want to use the flat part and not the very edge for this. That way you can get a flatter line. And you are more than welcome to paint along. You can grab a drink. I'm currently drinking some very salty water, some watermelon flavored salty water, which is very good. Sometimes I get all the salt at the bottom, which is not great, but there we go. So some of these lines may be a little wonky, but this is still very early in the process, and it is going to be easily correctable. There we go. And I do want to leave enough of the pencil lines so I know what I'm doing and what's happening. I was debating whether or not I wanted to go live today because I am planning on going live later tonight, but it is a completely different type of going live. I'm going to be doing some Minecraft stuff. So, yeah. I don't know if anyone else in the audience is live stream, if they do any. I'm still very new to it. I'm learning how to do it. Hopefully things will, like, all the little rough patches will definitely smooth out after a while. There we go. So you just want to keep building those layers and just being very flat with your paintbrush. Going this way and then this way. I'm a little worried that I'm going to forget where the lines are, but I think it will be fine. And I can also come back and clean this up with a teeny tiny brush. All right. So we're being very careful to avoid painting on the doors and the windows. There's a lot of reflections in the doors and the windows. And I think I'm going to add even more color than before. And just really play out the painterliness of this building. Because even with something realistic, you can still add your own elements, because if you try to go directly off of source, sometimes it ends up looking less realistic than if you added some of your own touches. Because painting isn't about painting the most realistic thing possible, it's about tricking the eyes into thinking that it is. And I didn't learn that until pretty late in my painting career, which is kind of funny to say, but I learned that within the past few years, that if you can make your eyes have an illusion of something, it's better than painting it exactly. And to the chat, if anyone has any painting recommendations, things that they would want to see, even painting lessons, I would love to do that. I would especially love to do any sort of painting lessons on live. I think that could be a lot of fun. And we're just gonna get the entire building covered in this nice blue-gray paint. And let's see. So I accidentally put both of the windows. Oh no, it was a 3 window. It was a 3-prong window. And I just realized that there's actually some yellow in there. So we will be covering this with yellow as well. And I will be switching to a smaller brush fairly soon with this. Let's see, yes. But filling in the big areas first. And then we'll go in with the smaller areas. You always want to try to fill in as much area as you can with your bigger stuff, so you don't spend hours and hours going over the same thing with a teeny brush. There we go. So we have the front part is pretty much done with that. And you can see the lines. I'm gonna go and clean it up with a tiny brush, but we can also go into the back of the building as well, which is gonna be somewhere over here. And these lines, you have to be very careful, because there's also a pergola on the other side, or a porch. And we want to see where that porch ends, so we just add a little bit in at the edge. That's where we want some of this paint. And we can go and make a darker color. But we do have to use this paint first to fill in some of those spots. All right, so we're gonna take our little brush, which is right here. And we're gonna wipe it on this just random piece of mailer. I like using junk mail as I like using junk mail for that. But we're just gonna go in and get all these little corners done. Painting can feel tedious sometimes. It doesn't today. It feels very fresh and inspiring today, and I hope that you feel fresh and inspired today. I would love to know some things that make you feel inspired. For me, it is definitely the mountains. I live in the mountains, so just being out there and breathing the air, I feel ready to take on anything. The birds here, definitely, I feel so alive with that and so grateful. There we are. So hello to anyone who has joined. I'm very happy that you're here, and I'm so grateful that you're here. And I would love to know where you're from, what you're up to today. Just tell me about how your day is going, good or bad, because I would love to know. This takes a little bit of focus, but that's okay. And I probably will not finish the entire thing today, but I think it will be done by the end of the week, which would be amazing. Then I just have to ship it back to my hometown. And I am currently and actively taking commissions at the moment. It is something that I'm finally getting back into after the move. And I would be super happy to take any commissions. I also am painting a second painting. I never just paint one painting at a time. So I'm actually using the leftover paint to paint a self-portrait, which I did one in high school like this. It was blue, but this one is a lot better, in my opinion, than the one I did in high school. So we just gonna keep doing it. Keep putting all the paint as neatly as possible. I feel like the faces that people make when they paint is basically the same as people when they do mascara and they're like, there we are. And I am going in a little bit on the lines. It's better than going out because then you can just add the doors and all of the other stuff, which I will be doing. We just have to make sure this is opaque. That's the most important part in this step of the process. Making sure everything is not see-through. We can always add more paint on top of it to cover up mistakes, but we need it to be completely opaque. And we're almost done with that. Then we can move on to adding the dark of the windows. Hi, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. This is what we have so far, and we are going to continue on with it. And I am excited to be on this journey with you guys. How are you doing today? Oh, it just, all of the liquid stuff. Sometimes that just happens. We add more orange. We're going to try to get this to be a darker gray. So we just keep adding orange, and hopefully it doesn't turn into brown territory. And I will show you what I'm doing. So it's a little green at the moment, and we don't really want that. We want it to be more of a gray color. And I think that this orange is a little bit too yellow. I think we may need some red in this orange. and it's starting to form a darker gray. It's still a little green. Let's see. Yep. So we just keep adding colors until we get the one that we want. And I'm thinking about starting painting being once or twice a week. Obviously my Minecraft one is going to be like once or twice a week as well. I have not decided what days. I think I'm going to be doing Wednesday. I might stream as well. I found I really enjoy live streaming. I like knowing that somewhere in the world there's someone else out there and we are sitting together. It is such a cool thought to me that we could be anywhere and we're all just sitting together and we're all just having fun. So I'm actually gonna grab probably a little bit of red. I'm gonna grab a little red to put into this because it needs it. Not this one. It needs a different red. Let's try this muddy red. I should not be doing that with the cap open. All right, so we have this like kind of like not cherry red. It's way too muted for that. But we're just adding it in. And I think that's gonna darken it up. I think that's gonna make it more gray. But it may pull it into purple territory, so we need to add some more of that orange. And I know that this is like a cardinal sin, but we may need to add a little bit of black in this. I'm still measuring and checking up on it. So we are actually going to add some of this color. It's called Midnight. It's super old. I got it at an estate sale. And as you can see, it does not really come out that well, but it's a great color to add. And when this one runs out, I will probably get a much newer one that actually does have liquid. But we're just gonna add some of this in there to kind of mute it up a little bit because it is way too colorful for a gray. And then if that doesn't work, we are gonna add in some black. And I usually do animals. I sometimes do buildings, so this was definitely a fun change of pace for everything that I do. So I'm just going over to my wonderful, wonderful paint tray over there to see what colors I can use. I actually think I'm gonna grab the black from up there. I just have to be very careful not to get any paint on me. And also not drop every paint that I have. It's a pretty tall shelf. This house came with very weird handmade shelves. They're not bad, but they're definitely very oddly shaped. And I will probably do a room tour of this eventually. Not today, not tomorrow, but someday. And the black is actually really making it the gray that you need because black does mute colors quite a bit. When I did go to art school the first year, they told us not to use any black, which I appreciate now, but I hated it then. It was definitely not something I was super excited about hearing. I'm gonna add in more because it does dull it a lot. And I think there's just a little too much phthalo blue in here. The thing about blues is there's like 3 main ones. And you definitely don't want to be using phthalo if you don't want a green pulled blue. Because phthalo is pretty much the greenest blue you can get. But we have a lot of dark gray now and it is pretty much the same color that we need. So I'm gonna start going in with it. And you just lay your paintbrush down very carefully. And we are doing the shadowy side of the building. So as you can see, it creates that depth, that nice, rich depth that we want. gonna sweep up. When you're using such a large brush, you have to be very deliberate with your brush strokes. And there we go, and that is how you get pretty much a straight line. And I'm also looking at the rest of it to see, is there anywhere else I can use this gray? It's a great question to ask yourself, because you really do not want to have to mix a bunch of paint only to use it in a small area. And sometimes you get more paint than you want. A great way to use up that paint is how I do it, where you just create a second painting. But this gray does not have much use in my painting. My self-portrait painting that I did a moment ago. And we're just gonna keep pulling it all the way back. And I will go in with a much smaller brush. But this is what we have so far, and you can see the perspective on it. I think I'm also going to start this gray off in the windows, because it is a nice dark gray. And I'm also going to use it as the base of the roof slants. The windows are multiple colors, but we are going to start this as the base color, because having white as the base color isn't always the best option. It's definitely can be a good option, but you always want to have some paint underneath whatever you're working on. Bare canvas can create an interesting look, and I did not prime this canvas because it was pre-primed already. As well as I knew I was going to be doing lots and lots and lots of layers on this. There also is like a cafe chair and table that goes in front of the window that I'm currently painting. But we're going to add that much later after we get everything else in the background. So I'm just using the flats and getting rid of all the excess paint in the center of the windows and doors. Just going back and forth and then up and down. And then we can come in with a lot less on our paintbrush and add those in. I definitely think I want to get a double camera system eventually. That way you guys, I can see you and you can see the painting. But for now, we're going to do it like this. Another thing that I did learn is to be very confident with your strokes. It's important to do that. And use the entire paintbrush, not just the edge. I am so hoping to get back to art school. I did have to stop for a year or two because I moved states, so hopefully I can start again eventually. That would be amazing. I would definitely take everyone through the entire experience, because I know art school is not for everybody. And from what I've already experienced, art school definitely is a life experience. It's something that is very unique. It has its own culture, like medical school, law school, all that stuff. Except I don't really think that law school students have pictures of Garfield talking about taxes. I don't know. Maybe they do. If you're a law student with a Garfield poster, please let me know. I would love to be corrected on that one. We're just gonna go in with the doors. And you wanna make sure all of the windows line up, especially when you're doing a perspective piece like this. You wanna make sure everything lines up. So then, hello Kelly. I saw your live earlier with the coloring book. And I was actually painting this while you were live. And I love that page. It is so pretty with all the vegetables on it. But yeah, we are just working on a commission right now. This is for one of my friends, and they're gonna give it to their friend who owns a bar in my hometown. And that bar is Blockbuster themed, like the old video store. And this is what we have so far. We're getting in all the finer details, or all the big details, and then we'll go in with the finer details later. So this is what we have at the moment. And I'm gonna go in with the bitty baby brush, the little baby brush, and we're gonna start adding in some better little details. I still do have to do yellow on this wall. I know, it's so exciting. I am so excited that we get to, because all of your stuff is so cool. And to anyone watching, I definitely recommend that you sub to Kelly. There's a lot of cool DIY stuff on there, and just an amazing person overall. But yeah, it's really cool because I feel like there's a community that's just, there's so many like cool like smaller creators that just, you know, exist and are doing amazing things. Oh, my reference photo. There we go. But this is actually the reference photo. I don't know if you can see it very well, but I have been told to make it, yes, the algorithm has been kind finally. I was getting a lot of the really, is fine, but not optimal. I would definitely prefer to, because some of the smallest like creators create the best things. Like I was even thinking about this with the whole Minecraft movie thing. I was like, wow, I could watch a better movie that somebody made like in their mom's basement than what a $1 million corporation could do. That's usually the case. I think I'm gonna have like just a bunch of like party lights coming from the inside. They do have, I'm pretty sure that's a pair of angel wings on the door, and I'm not sure if it is. I keep looking at it, but they have some neon signs. They have what I think, it looks like a Grand Theft Auto sign, but I know it says something else. It says like some trivia thing. It's like a poster. And this city that this place is in is a very artistic city. And this would be the second bar that one of my paintings is going in. Which the first one, they did close. The lady who owned it decided she was gonna try something new, and more power to her. I'm super happy for her for that. They had open mics, which I used to do, and they had trivia nights as well. I have not been to a trivia night ever in my life. I don't know if they're any fun. I feel like they are. I kind of want to try it, but they're always like late at night. And I'm not really one to want to be out super late. I mean, I know people are like, oh, but it only starts at 9, but that's kind of late for me to be out. Like, I'll be in. I'll be awake and in at 9. So the roof kind of has like that like slanty thing going on. And it cuts off very quickly. But we're also going to be adding in the other parts. We're going to be adding in not only the roof, but the porch roof as well. Because the porch roof is a pretty gray color. It's slightly lighter, so I will be adding some white to it. But there we are. So we're just going to keep layering on the color. being as neat as possible. I think I am gonna bring the tree in front of it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just kept mixing. I just kept mixing stuff up the most I could. And I get to peel all this off when it's dry, which is my favorite part. I love peeling the paint. It's very satisfying to do. There we go. I think the next thing I paint is going to be an animal again. Probably another betta fish. I love painting betta fish. There we are. Just using, yeah. It's very soothing, and I have a lot of it on here to do. I'm very excited for it. Just creating the lines. And I don't know what I'm gonna do with the betta fish. I will probably try to sell it, but not at markets anymore. I'm definitely done with markets for the foreseeable future. A lot of people tell me I should do them again. I will not. They have not been kind to me, any of them. And I don't think that, I tried it for a year. I tried it for an entire year, and I was like, I'm gonna give this a full year, go to all the markets I can, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It ended with somebody stabbing my painting, which was super not cool. I've had someone step on my painting before, but stabbing, that was a new low. And I paid $50 to be there, sold nothing. So I basically paid $50 for someone to stab my painting. And I'm not doing that again. I am just gonna probably sell online or through clients, because you couldn't pay me to do it again. And we're just gonna go in. I think I actually could use the bigger brush on this part. Yep, the bigger brush works beautifully. There we go. And I might actually bring that over here as well, just to get it filled in a little bit. Thank you. I still haven't fixed it. I'm gonna fix the painting, but it is what it is. I mean, I feel like it comes with the territory, but I feel like that was just my sign to, quit while I'm ahead a little bit. And the worst part was, it was like, there was a kid who was selling stuff, and the mom was the one who stabbed it. And the kid wasn't even selling paintings, so maybe she was just not having a good day. I don't know. When I don't have a day, I drink a cup of tea. I don't go and stab people's paintings. But it was a betta fish painting, and I might actually use some of the gray on some of the betta fishes I have that are halfway done. And I think at the end of the year, I'm gonna do a video of everything I made in 2024. And you will probably see quite a few betta fish on there, because I paint them a lot. I can't have them right now because I have cats, and I don't know where I would put them that the cats wouldn't try to attack them. But maybe in the future I will set up an aquarium in my craft room, and then I could have betta fish, because I love them and they're precious and they're babies. And they deserve the entire world. So the roof is like one of those like slanted roofs. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. I think I will. I'm actually planning on making a Halloween costume, which not really a Halloween costume. I just know I'm probably going to be done with it by Halloween. But it's going to take a lot of time, and I'm going to try to use as much reused and unwanted materials as possible. I thought I was gonna do something like, I thought I was gonna do Team Rocket with my partner, but I don't think we're gonna have time for that at this point. And I don't know where we would wear it. But I have another idea that I think is gonna be just as good. We might do that idea next year. I've never played Pokemon, but I definitely love that duo. I don't know if they're siblings or not, though. I don't know if that's weird. I feel like they're not siblings, but I don't know if they are. I think there's like some lore with that I'm missing. I don't know if any of you guys have played Pokemon, watched it. I've seen a few of the Pokemon episodes. I think they're like on like 26 seasons now. They've released so many of them. It's kind of like that one comic that you cannot catch up on no matter how hard you try. Everyone was really obsessed with it in 2012. It was like everyone was gray and they were like astrological signs. I'm trying to remember what it is. Oh my god. It was such a thing. It was such a thing. I'm gonna remember it eventually. I never read it, but I had some friends back then who were obsessed with it. It's not Undertale. That's a video game. I have no idea. Oh, that's even better. Okay, that makes me feel better about wanting to do that costume. I was a little bit worried that they were siblings, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to like imply that. I can't like the canon lore. I absolutely love that for them. I feel like that's like the most like I feel like that's like the most bi-cover I've seen in my life. And both of them are always serving. There we are. And we've got the roof. We've got that little roof thing done. I am so happy about that. The roof thing is done. I will need to repaint a little bit over the sign. And I'm gonna have to paint the doors as well. Let's do the doors. And thankfully the perspective on this wasn't too hard. The painting is coming to life. Thank you. I'm very excited to see what happens with it. I would love to add more colors into it. And I can't wait to have the neon signs in the window. And there we are. And I'm just gonna add more of this. And I do think eventually I might do like painting classes on here. I don't know who would tune in. I feel like everyone that is subbed is probably very creative though. And adding some more. There we go. I really hope that the bar owners like this gift. And I hope that they absolutely love it and they put it up. I know the lady who owns it is also very artistic, which is very cool. There we go. Sometimes I miss it down there, and then sometimes I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to live there again. That's kind of the things with hometowns. Once you leave and you go back, you would too. Thank you. What type of lessons do you think I should do? I feel like I know what I'm doing somewhat. I definitely like have more experience with painting, but I would love to do like one of those like DIY like tutorial things and show people how to make something pretty. or even just something like stress relieving, you know? Something that helps people just unwind after a long day doing whatever they do. And adding in more of the doors. I will definitely clean these up with the lighter blue later on. But this is what we have, and I'm really happy with that for today. I am really happy with that. And there we have it. So I might see you guys tonight. I might do a Minecraft live tonight. I think I'm gonna stick to Wednesdays in the evening, but I might also do Tuesdays. I'm not sure yet, but if it is, it would be around 6:37 tonight, and I would be playing in my survival world and trying not to die yet again. But I'm hoping that you guys have a beautiful day, and I love you all so much, and I might see you later. All right, bye.